Boom, like and we are back here on Metal Nation Radio with Matthew from Message from Sylvia. And they just played their first show last night. I sound about as bad as you this morning, but I'm tired,
man,
dude.
That's not starting good at all.
Yeah, well, welcome to Metal Nation. Thanks for joining us.
And, yeah, I appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me.
Oh, absolutely. So, how did the first show go? Where were you guys? You guys were in Tennessee, right?
It was a cool show, man. We've been in Nashville here for the past week. We're putting together the show, working on little things here and there, introducing a new member to the band as well. So, we're just kind of putting the pieces together right now for really the past week. And last night we journeyed up to Clarksville, Tennessee, the warehouse, and we played with our buddies in Artifice. And we had a killer show, man. I mean, really couldn't ask for anything more for a first show, to be honest with you. Something to cut teeth to. It was kind of the right scenario for us.
So for everybody, I mean, I know a little bit of the backstory. I know that the other three guys in the band came from First Decree. They're from Wyoming. You came from Dory Drive, I believe. Tell us how A Message from Sylvia came together. Give us a little bit of the backstory on the band.
Right on, man. Funny thing is I was trying to help some buddies out at the time to kind of get them some shows. They were trying to start touring. So I was actually on the phone with a promoter and, trying to sell him my buddy's band. And he's like, dude, it's really crazy that you call me now about this band. He just kind of threw out the door, what I was asking him originally. And he's like, I was on the phone with Eric Baker the other day, and he was asking about you, and, there's something going on right now that might be right up your alley. And so, I mean, it's really history from there. It's kind of cool, though. I wasn't searching, for anything at that point in time, but, that one phone call, it was pretty cool, man.
I actually got a chance to see First Decree when they came through my town, and I remember watching the band, and I thought, this is a really good band, but the singer wasn't doing much for me, and it may have just been a bad show for him, but then I hear you guys, and I'm like, this sounds like it's all come together. Is there a story behind the name, though?
Well, for one, in all fairness, First Decree was First Decree.
Right.
And everything they did together, they need to be proud of. I think, it's just I'm a completely different singer than Travis. Travis was, in my opinion, First Decree. He helped make that sound. He helped make that identifiable for their fans. This is just a completely different entity. It's a different monster. Yes, the brothers are a part of this, but we're really starting from scratch here. We're really proud of that. So really, the journey started in July, and I met the guys for the first time out in Los Angeles. They picked me up from the airport, and I jumped right in, and we had some good chemistry right off the bat, just joking around and whatnot. And I had already been working some of the music with Sahaj in my own studio at home, so I was prepping for that. So I had already had some steam. The wheels were already turning before I even got to Los Angeles with the guys, but got in the studio with Sahaj. We went over some ideas. Everybody seemed to like the fresh ideas. The music just started to help identify where we were going, what this could be. So the band name is kind of cool because it actually stems from the road that we stayed on, which was Sylvia Avenue. For me personally, I got up in the morning, I did my run, I did my text messages, my picture messages, my phone calls, things of that nature. And, we were searching. We were searching hard. We're like, what's this band name going to be? And for the past 2 weeks even before we got together, we were throwing band names left and right. And we're throwing in management. What they were is they were obvious. They were obvious names. They were safe names. So it's tough, man. It's tough. You think about it. It's 2016, almost 2017. How many band names have been taken? So the cool thing with Message from Sylvia for all of us, it's the street, and it represents all of the messages, and phone calls that we made staying on that road for as long as we were there. Hence, Message from Sylvia. But at the same time, the band name for us really exemplifies what we miss, when we're away. So, like, everything is back home, because really, what you have, you're out on the road doing your thing, and, your communication is very sparse, but when you do have time, it's a bunch of text messages, making sure you send pictures, to make sure loved ones at home know that you're thinking about them. So it all correlates.
So we played your debut single, Heart of War. It's the only music we have so far to give us a taste. Tell us a little bit about that song and maybe whether or not that track is indicative of what the rest of the stuff sounds like or just one aspect of who Message from Sylvia is.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, seriously, like, I don't think it represents the album. I think it represents a good starting spot for the band. I think it's a very strong placement for us where active rock is these days. Heart of War was actually a song that was really, it already had a solid start before I even came into the project. It was one of the first songs that was shared with me. Sahaj, our producer, he really involved himself a lot in that song. And I think with a total group effort of the brothers and then myself coming in at the end, putting in what I put into that, I mean, I think it's indicative of what the process is going to be, what this band is going to be and how it's going to work. And that's everybody putting their hands in. That's your best product right there. When everybody has their hands in on something, their voices are heard, your best product, is going to be laid out there for you. So I was really excited when we found out that Heart of War was going to be the single for the band. And actually it was crazy, man, because when I got to Los Angeles, I was basically told the first day after, we had worked out what we were going to work out before I recorded the vocals to it, that, yeah, we needed to get it done that day because it was going to be out. Basically, we released it to radio while we were in the studio, and we were fortunate also to get on a pretty major compilation with that single as well right away. So it was a pretty cool start, man.
Tell us where you're at now with, because it sounds like you've got the record either all done or mostly done. Where are you at in the stage process with that, and when is it at? Do you have a release date yet? Do we know what's going on with any of that? What
I can tell you right now is, I know that we're pushing for street date early March. I don't think it's going to happen before then. There's a lot of things happening right now with this band, so we're just trying to take it a step at a time. We're trying to make the best decisions possible we can make right now. We have a great team, so we're pretty excited about that. We still have final artwork, so we're waiting on that. I think actually we're going to be talking about that while we're here in Nashville this week. We are getting prepared to do the music video for Heart of War. Our videographer Tyler, he's going to come meet us today. We're in Nashville at SAR Studios, so we're going to actually talk about some possibilities and what his ideas are for it. And we're going to be shooting it. And we're going to be shooting it on the 8th this week. So it should be cool, man. It should be really, really interesting.
So you're going to shoot it on Election Day.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
It is crazy. So I'll ask you. I'm not going to ask you for who you're voting for or anything like that. But this has been like the most divisive presidential campaign in my lifetime, probably yours as well. And
yeah,
it's just crazy what's going on with all this stuff. What are your thoughts on where we're at in America? What's going on with this election?
I'm going to be very coy with this. I feel that there's a lot of misinformed people out there. I don't think we're doing our due diligence, to really read in between the lines. I think we're letting social media speak for us instead of actually using our own voice. It just seems like in these days everything's kind of force-fed, and that's really sad. When we start to think for ourselves again, I think that's when we're going to see a beautiful change in our society and everything around. Where I am with the actual election process, that's my thing. That's my opinion, and it's only an opinion. So I'm not going to push that on anyone. I would just, if anybody walks away from this and I can give any positive message, it would just be read up, like be informed. I think that's something that our society is missing today.
Your generation is so entirely different than mine in terms of the music industry. I came from that rock star mystique era, the Led Zeppelin, stuff like that, where the idea of even talking to, even briefly, a rock star was just, it would never happen. Now, in your day and age, you guys have the constant social media, the Twitters, the Instagrams, the Facebooks. You have a much closer connection to fans, with the fans, than obviously I did with the bands I loved growing up. How do you think that impacts them and impacts you?
Well, I think altogether it just makes us closer. To be detached from really, the art, that you're sharing, doesn't do you any justice as an artist. To really have like a hands-on, approach to your listener. I mean, I'll just give you, a scenario, from last night. Just walking around the club and being stopped. For me, it was a couple guys in the military. There's a lot of military out last night, and they were thanking me for the song, how it's already impacted them and helped them through some trying times since they've gotten back to the States. And this is why you do that. Yeah. Well, this is why I've always wanted to be a part of music. I want to be a reason somebody wakes up in the morning. I want to be that guiding light, per se, because there's a lot of darkness out there. And, luckily we have music. And we have music, to get us through those trying times in life. I think with all that and then having that closer relationship, I think that strengthens our craft. I think that really brings light and justice to everything that we're doing here and all the sacrifices that we make.
Before we get out of here, I know you guys have a huge 2017 planned, and I know there's a ton of stuff that we can't talk about yet because it's just too early. I got to imagine there's at least a tour coming up you can tell us about before we head out.
Yeah, we're going to be out with our buddies in Blacklight District to end the year. We have a lot of cool radio shows. There are a lot of radio stations across the United States are really supporting us. So we're getting those strong shows in right now. So I think it's going to be a fun tour. I think it's going to be a great way yet again, to just kind of cut teeth, get out there and really figure out who we are, as a band live. So it's going to be a great process. I think we're all looking forward to it. Everybody's working really hard, and so far we're proud of what we have to show for it. But it's time to work. It's time to get on the road. It's time to support this record that hopefully will be released sooner rather than later. But it all has to come in time, right?
Matthew, thank you so much for hanging out and chatting with us a little bit. We'll definitely have to have you back on as we get closer to the album coming out and new stuff happening. And thanks for talking a little bit about the election. I know talking politics is one of those taboo subjects, so I appreciate you just putting your thoughts out there a little bit.
Oh, sure. Yeah, dude, I really appreciate having me on. The band wants to thank you for spinning the single and being a great supporter of us right now. So thank you for that. I just want to give a shout out to our family, our friends, our fans. Hi to my wife, my daughter, my parents personally. But, without supporters like you, Rustyn, there's nothing for us out there. So I really appreciate the time.